Hi there. Hi everyone. It's Kathy. How are you? I was sitting here doing some exercises that I'm working on, and I just kind of thought it was something that I would like to share because I think it could be helpful to someone for sure. So I have a prayer journal, but I use it more like I would say, use it like a self-development agenda, pretty much, right? So it's almost like a little bit of journaling mixed in with um, introspection mixed in with like introspection like in terms of like questions I might write out. I plan out in there things that I want to work on, and it also shows my daily routine, right? So I have a few different things that I do every day that I thought someone might want to know. So I'm actually going to show you. So hopefully you can see that. So what it is I start out, this is my prayer journal. So it's pretty much like a big exercise book, pretty much. And every day I kind of write out, well, obviously the date, but then there's things that I do every morning. I wake up in the morning and I call it like my rise and shine gratitude prayer. So I get out of bed or I'm in bed and I say thank you, Lord, for another day. I think all the things I'm grateful for that moment, especially my family. And if there's any prayers or so that I want to say, I do it then. And then I get out of bed. I put on a pot of some water in the kettle to make coffee. I make a pot of coffee. And then the next thing that I do is I put on prayer as you go. So prayer as you go is a prayeasyougo.org does daily like a daily meditation type of prayer. And it's lovely. I love it. And it's only about maybe like 10 to 15 minutes or so. Our late pastor Jenny was the one that got me hooked on it, and I really like it. So I start off with my day with prayer as you go and see what they have for the day. And then I also lately have been watching, it's on YouTube. I'm Anglican, so it sits home well for me. But I watch the Dean of Canterbury in England. They do morning prayers, and he's usually either in the garden, and it's lovely. And it starts off with, again, any kind of prayers that might be needed for somewhere in the world. So they normally think of a specific area. There's always like either it could be a saint day or something, and then they will talk about maybe prayers up for, like, especially like right now, Ukraine. And I think Brazil, they had some kind of a landslide, so they kind of talk about that. And then they go into the actual biblical lesson, and then from the biblical lesson, then they might bridge that with some other stories, that are relative to that lesson, right? And so I do that. I know it seems like quite a lot. Then I also have my own. I read the Bible in a year, so I also do wherever I'm at that point. This I've been doing on my own for probably about 5 or 6 years now. So I currently I'm on Second Samuel, but I read at my leisure. But I'm a pretty good fast reader, so I kind of have like I'm very diligent and very consistent in my reading, right? So I do my own readings, my own Bible study, and then from that, then now that it's entering Lent, I actually have a Lent study that I'm doing as well. So I know that seems like a lot for some people, but for me, I really thrive on any kind of mental and self development and wholesomeness and spiritual care and all of that. Like I beyond love it, right? So it's kind of my thing. Anyways, back to my page. So I kind of write out what I'm doing. These are the things that I do every day. My readings, my morning prayers, prayers you go, my soul fast, which is my Lent study, either a walk I add in there. If I got to make a payment to something, I make that payment because I'm honoring my word. And then if there's things that I need to do for my work, like in this case on Wednesday, I packed my makeup bag. I had to put supplies in there. I actually went to the supply shop and got some things and I did that. And then I had some bookings. I had some calls to return. So I did that as well. And then, at that point, I kind of write this out either the day before or the morning of, generally speaking, the night before. And then in this case, it said wind down with prayer and gratitude, assuming that that was the end of my day, but it really wasn't. So then I carried on and it kind of like wrote down sometimes I'll find like these interesting questions. So this particular day it happened to be, what are my happy distractions? What are things that I absolutely love doing that are good distractions? Because sometimes you'll have distractions that take you further away from where you want to be, right, in life. So in this case, it's, happy distractions. And then I kind of like wrote down things that I want to repeat in my life. Like what things this year in 2022 do I want to repeat from maybe last year? So good things. So in this case, spiritual growth, financial betterment, spreading more joy. I wrote down simplicity and elegance in every area of my life. And then I also wrote down boldness and just, sticking up for myself and being individual, because I, again, relish on being individual as well. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Then I also kind of wrote down things I want to do and add to my life this year. So the previous question was, what do I want to repeat? This next question was, what do I want to add? So in this case here, being more at peace with myself and in my choices, right? So not kind of second guessing myself. And then I wrote down, adapting to whatever might be going on, but yet I'm keep going. So adapting meaning that I'm aware of maybe there's some limitations, or maybe like how we still have COVID and we have like certain things that might be going on, but not going against myself and allowing it to derail me, just allowing me to continue with my processes, right? So that's kind of what I mean by that. And then I always end my night with a closing prayer that, although it's written, and again, I might write this down either throughout the day, I kind of go back to it that night and reflect on it. And like in this case, I kind of put a little note at the bottom that little by little does add up. So keep going, keep getting excited, seek ways to add a small, even if you do a little small chip off the block, towards your dreams to get closer to your goals. Just keep going, you got this. And then like Thursday, again, I've got my basic things that I do every day, my morning wake up, rise and shine, my prayers you go, my morning prayers with the Dean of Canterbury, and then my readings that I'm doing that day in my soul fast. Let's study. But then on this day now, what I wanted to bring forth was I wanted to edit my closet. Now, keep in mind, I edit all the time. So for me, it was a small edit, right? So it was editing my shoes and getting rid of like old pillows and whatever in the top of my cupboard. And I found a spot for my Sorel boots, like right, instead of being on the floor, now I put them up on the top, and I wanted that there. I made a delicious soup for lunch. I cleaned my boots off at the door. I mean, again, it might seem like very simple things. And then I kind of wrote down my plan. I did some preparation now as well, right? So I did preparation for my Lent. So Lent is approaching, starting March 2nd. That's Ash Wednesday. Till I usually do a Lent study up until Palm Sunday, because I like to have Holy Week available. So once church begins their full Holy Week of events, I want to be fully immersed into it. So anything that I'm doing on my own, I want it done by then. So I'm in a clear space and I'm in a renewed space, ready to receive whatever it is that I need to receive for that time, right? So I kind of wrote down a little bit. I started kind of figuring out a little bit maybe what I might want to do. Seeing the timelines here. On the next page, which is today, I actually wrote out what my Lent fast will be, right? So, and then I also kind of like did a little bit of pre-planning for spring and summer for my apartment, like kind of what I want, maybe outdoor, my balcony, kind of what I want. And I actually planned my Easter menu already for myself. Either way, then I end with a prayer, right? And then lastly, Friday, same kind of thing. I've got my routine going, so that doesn't change. And then in this here, I added in what I wanted to do for Lent. So every year for Lent, Lent is a time where you take away something. So you kind of put yourself in a place like how Jesus had to go through his trials before he was crucified, that time of hardship and that time of I guess what would be the word, almost infliction, right? So again, it's not like you're inflicting harm on yourself. It's not that, but you take away your comforts. That's the whole idea of when you meditate in Lent to remember Christ. It's like you are literally removing things, your comforts and your joys per se, right? So I like to do every year. I mean, I take out sugar. I mean, sugar's mainly out of my diet anyways, but every year for Lent, I focus on sugars. No sugar, meaning obviously I wouldn't be having like a croissant or something that has sugar. Like I wouldn't be having jam and again, I don't normally have that, but still it's really enforced. None of that. No candy, not having that. And for me, that would also include any generally white flour, those kind of things. But again, for the most part, I eat anti-inflammatory, so I don't really eat, um, garbagey kind of food. I kind of don't. But last year, what I did is because I had to up the ante, because every year I kind of do like the no sugar and whatever. And I was like, okay, that's becoming a little too easy. So now, last year I did a full 40-day social media fast. This year, I'm equally going to do a social media fast, and I'm going to fast again starting on Ash Wednesday. I will be gone up until the night before Palm Sunday, because Palm Sunday, then I come back on, and that's the beginning of Holy Week. So for me, social media fast is included. No sugar is included. Now, this is going to be a really funny one because a lot of people might not assume this, but no swearing for me. Well, I have a little bit of a potty mouth sometimes, right? My friends will know that because you wouldn't look at me and think that that's me. But stuff does come out of my mouth every now and then because I'm a direct person. I can be a little passionate. And the odd time I can, well, more than the odd time, to be honest, I can say kind of some things. So it's going to be a no expletive kind of month. No, what did I write down? I wrote no profanities at all. Not even the little ones, like none. Okay. So we're doing that. And I'm going to also include, I want no spending, other than just, food and supplies that I need. I mean, I'm not really spending that much anyways, but that's another thing that I'm curtailing, making sure there's no wants for anything, because other than food, what do I want? Right. And really, I don't really want for anything because we got plenty of everything. So that I'm not doing, I'm not spending. And then lastly, I'm going to be trying to stick to eating seasonal foods. So whatever is out for spring, radishes and asparagus and, artichokes and peas and all of that. Of course I'll have squash and whatever, but I'm going to try to buy seasonal produce, vegetables, that sorts of thing. So that's really kind of like my plan. But either way, I kind of just thought I would share that with you. I really love doing, I don't know, I just like challenging myself. And I find it, what would I say? I would say that I find it it's not a therapeutic thing. I just find it really valuable. Like it changes me as a person. It changes how I am with other people. Because the more you know about yourself and the more you can, and I mean, this was light and fluffy, but let's be clear, I get very deep when it comes to introspection with myself. I get very deep, like, like for me, I always add in, like I wrote there what I'm taking out, but I also wrote in for Lent. I always add something in for Lent, which most people don't do that in their Lent fast, but I do. I've been doing that for many years. So my additions for Lent are actually a lot longer than my removals. So my addition for Lent is to do a deep dive study, to be intentional in whatever it is I'm doing and saying and being, to be mindful, to practice patience, to build a new foundation for my meaning, to say like during Lent, this is the time to renew yourself. So elevate myself, and so as spring begins, so will I spring forth anew person, right? So I want to go with the season. As the season begins to grow, so do I want to develop growth in my life, right? In all areas of my life. And so that's kind of like what I wrote down. And of course, then I'll also be walking in gratitude and practicing praise and thanksgiving, and just enjoy nature. Like that's going to be daily. I'll go out and, enjoy what has been given to us. So that's kind of like my thing. But either way, I kind of thought that this would be something that I would share and talk about. And I might do a little post on it on maybe, what do they call it? Shrove Tuesday, Pancake Tuesday, because that will be the last day I will be on social media. I'll be coming, right now I'm off social media for a week. I kind of just felt like doing a week of it prior to when I actually go into my 40 days off. But I think I'm back on Sunday, which would be the 20th, right? So yeah, February 20th, I'll be back on for I think 8 days, and then I'm off again until April 15th, I think, if something like that. Anyways, either way, hopefully this is helpful to somebody, and you can get and not necessarily about Easter, because you don't have to be Christian to understand what this is about. This is just about setting routines for yourself and sticking to your routines and things that matter to you, whatever it is that matters to you. Write it down, chip away at it, do a deep introspection into yourself of the whys and how you can, and follow through with that. So that's really kind of what this was all about. So there you go. All right. Bye.